my mic, but it
Okay, that
seems
should be fine. So we are
yeah,
live now.
yeah. Now I'm not using it, so let's use without.
Kenneth, we are live now. So hello friends, good evening. Welcome to you all. Today is the third day of our live webinars. We got our second university today. Yesterday you had a chance to visit Calgary with UICC. Today we are in another part of Canada, which is Ontario, which is quite famous with all North Indians, where everyone and anyone from Punjab lives in Ontario. So today we are in Waterloo, about 110 kilometers west of Toronto, and with one of my favorite universities, Wilfrid Laurier. Wilfrid Laurier is a public Canadian university where it has about 20,000 plus undergraduate students across 8 faculties, 14,000 plus international students from 100 plus countries. And today we are with WLIC, Wilfrid Laurier International College, which offers pathways into Wilfrid Laurier University. And with me, I have today Kenneth, who is right now joined us from Canada, and Utkarsh, who's sitting in Navitas Delhi office. And the three of us will be discussing today about uh, Wilfrid Laurier International College, the offerings, the opportunities there, the scholarships, and what you can expect out of that. So, as I told you, we are in Waterloo today. Waterloo is often called Canada's innovation and technology hub. You see all those AI things, most of them happen around Waterloo. It's also called Silicon Valley of Canada. Like California is for US, Waterloo is for Canada. But still, despite all this, Kenneth, people know more about Toronto.
Yeah.
They know less about Waterloo. If Waterloo is so much to offer, why it has been kept as a secret by the Canadian people or by the Canadian government? Can you please tell more about Waterloo ecosystem, about the innovation culture there, entrepreneurship, the tech companies there? Please throw some light on that.
Yes, definitely. So thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for having me today, and we're very happy to share with everyone more about our university and scholarship opportunity available. So regarding the questions about like why Waterloo is less known, I think it's really has to do about with the population sizes. I do want us to make it clear that about 50% of the international students who come to Canada, they reside in Ontario, which is a very popular province. And majority of them, of course, will go to Toronto, but a lot of them actually is going to the greater Toronto area, which Waterloo is definitely one of the area. So in terms of population, Toronto is about 7 million, and Waterloo we get in the Waterloo region we get about 500,000. So maybe the population sizes are one of the reasons that we are less popular in the province of Ontario or maybe in Canada. But it is indeed, as you said, one of the Canadian strongest. Well, not one of the. It is the strongest in Canada, and number two in North America, just a little bit below, San Francisco, which is the Silicon valleys there. I do want us to talk a little bit about the Waterloo, the tech, sort of the ecosystem a little bit. So when we talk about ecosystem, we often talk about the funding bit. So as I mentioned, Waterloo, it's number one in Canada, number two in North America in terms of the tech sectors. So it is we are joining a lot of the angel investment, a lot of the funding into the city, into the regions to help fund companies such as we have in our downtown. Kitchener, Waterloo, we got like Google, we got in finance, we have like KPMG, we have any major bank, for example, like Sun Life, insurance, very big insurance provider are here in Waterloo. So we have tech companies such as OpenText. We have BlackBerry now turning to be the B2B sector, not as much as the B2C sectors. So we have lots of the company that are driving the economy of the tech sector here in Canada, based in Waterloo. And then the second thing I want to talk about is the talent that we are home to 2,000 startup. We have about 30,000 tech worker in between Waterloo and Toronto. So in terms of like talents, in terms of company, we have lots and lots of opportunity for students. And later on, I'll get to a bit more about the co-op and how would it help students like you to get a job before you even graduate.
And within all this ecosystem of Waterloo, where does the university stand?
Yeah, so
Where does the university fit in?
yeah, so for the university, we are really heavy into the research bit of the business. So with any sort of business or industry, they work hand in hand with the professor doing research. And often the company would go to the university professor and asking them to help them with research. And here is where our students would come in, because we are a comprehensive university, meaning that a lot of most of our students are undergraduate. We have less postgraduate students. So what it means is that our professor will be able to break the project into part and then give it to the students. So what it does to the student is that it gets to build a strong network with their professor because they have an opportunities to help their professor with the research opportunity. So what it means for the students is that at the end of the day in the theory, they will be able to put, or beside you work for XYZ company, they also work for a professor for a project, and what is the outcome of the project. That's often help when they go on to research or when they go on to postgraduate study beyond their undergraduate education. For the university, we also have a 1.5 million startup fund that is available for students or for anyone who is in Waterloo that wanted to start a business. So from the university part, we try to drive talents. For students who has idea, we try to fund them. The idea of give them support to fund the idea. So for the university, we take it is important part. It's where we produce talents for the city and for the regions to drive the economy forward in the IT and AI and machine learning sectors.
Utkarsh, I'd like to involve you in between this question. Like
Yeah.
with Navitas, you guys have about 6 Canadian universities. And where do you think Wilfrid Laurier fits into? How many students you send each year to Wilfrid Laurier, or how's the student experience? What's the feedback?
So amongst the cohort of students, I'll tell you very bluntly, any student who wants to go into tech, they want to go to Waterloo. That's why they choose Wilfrid Laurier. And I think it's a very surprising fact that BlackBerry, everybody knows BlackBerry in India brought this mobile phone revolution. Everybody in some time or the other, maybe not the very new generation, but us, no, we have seen
Gen Z
those
doesn't know
QWERTY.
about BlackBerry. Gen
Yeah,
Z
yeah.
doesn't know about BlackBerry.
So the QWERTY keypad they are typing right now, it was brought by BlackBerry in the phones. So that company came in Waterloo only, that was founded in Waterloo. Again, let's discuss about Shopify. Everybody knows what Shopify as a company is. They have a very big regional office in Waterloo. Again, open text. So Shopify, you can see it as a like software providing company, which provides a cloud-based software. So any student, I don't know why there's a misconception that when you want to go into software, it's only computer science. But there are 100 other courses also, 100 other professions also when you go into tech, which is related to computer science, but not exactly in software coding. So SaaS service, students who want to go into SaaS, Waterloo is the place for them. Wilfrid Laurier provides. There are just two universities. Either it's University of Waterloo or it's Wilfrid Laurier, and they are just side by side. But the main advantage for Wilfrid Laurier is the cost is way less than Waterloo. So studying in a very high rank institution, that too in Waterloo, which is like a Silicon Valley in Canada, giving those kind of opportunities, is where the university places themselves for especially tech related and project management also, because tech needs project management. So those kind of programs also the university invites students.
Great, Utkarsh. So, Kenneth, a lot of students would be watching our this webinar live and maybe watching on later on also, because
Yes.
it will be posted on various medias. What kind of students should be paying attention? What kind of background students should be paying attention for Wilfrid Laurier?
Yeah, definitely. So, in my opinion, if so, we are a comprehensive university, like I mentioned earlier. I just want us to make it clear that we are a university that focuses a lot on hands-on experiences. So, if you are the kind of students that prefer to be doing the hands-on project rather than just taking the exam, right, learning from classroom, then I think our university is is very, very straightforward. So when we're saying about like hands-on, I give you a more specific example. So earlier we were talking about computing science. So in one of the classes, our class is called iPhone programming, for example, iOS programming. So nowadays everyone's used iPhone. So we have a class dedicated for that. And the outcome of the project in class, or the assignment in class, is to design an app that is for the iPhone, right? And then we invite the judges from Apple's to give student a grade. So this is one of the things that we offer as an hands-on experiences to our students. So they just don't learn from the textbooks, or they just don't learn through exam. They learn through doing the project. So the outcome of that is we have a 99% placement rate for co-op students. So lots of our students get co-op, which is 99%, right? Which is almost unheard of in the education industry here. So we have that a hands-on learning approach where we help students land their co-op, and by the time when they graduate, they would already have job offer because they were working at co-op. I'll give you one more piece of data that in our Bachelor of Science program, our students earn an average of 70,000 Canadian dollar after they graduate. So we survey them within 12 months after their graduation, and that's the salary that they earn in average for a science graduate from our university here in Canada. To give you a sort of a benchmark, here in Canada, fresh graduate usually earn about 50,000 to 60,000 sometimes. But the fact that our students earn above the benchmark, it shows that employer are willing to pay our students for a very fair amount of salary to pay for their work. And a lot of it is because of the co-op learning opportunity and all the project-based learning opportunity.
Kenneth, as we saw the profile of the university, that you got students from about 100 plus countries.
Yes.
So we're focusing on the Indian students. Can you let me know which programs attract the strongest numbers, strongest interest from the Indian students?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll say in two areas. So the first one is definitely computing science, but computing science, we do have different varieties of computing science programs. So we do have the traditional computing science, but we also offer data science, which is a very, very popular major here in Canada. And then we also offer financial math and analytics. So for students who is not so much into the computing science, we do offer the coding part of computing, which is data science. And then we also offer the mathematical part of computing science as well. So one side, it's the computing science program, and then the other, I would say, is our business program that draw a lot of attentions from international students, and including students from India that are drawn to our university because of these two faculty.
Great. Before we jump on to the next question, which I intend to ask Utkarsh, I'll ask students using a QR code on the screen. If you scan it and send your profile to us, since today we are in, say, the university rep is there directly with us, we can assess your application straight away and just let you know what kind of scholarships you guys can avail from us. So this is a good opportunity. Scan the QR code and send your profiles on that WhatsApp number. So that will be very convenient and a good opportunity for you guys. So, Utkarsh, coming to you, like in previous two webinars, also yesterday and day before, we discussed about pathways. Still, for students, might be some of them new have joined in today. I'd like to ask you why a student should join WLIC, Wilfrid Laurier International College, rather than directly going to the university. Why?
So I'll tell you. So all these universities which we are discussing about. So like yesterday we discussed Lethbridge, today's UICC. We'll further discuss 4 more universities. Back then, when all this system, the pathway system started, so usually all these universities are public institutions. So हिंदी के टर्म में ये गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस है, ये प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशंस नहीं है. These are funded by government, public institutions. So all these requirements that these institutions have is really, really high. So पहले क्या होता था? All these institutions were inviting the applications from all the top cream students who have the highest grades. who have the best English scores, who have all the best requirements, who have done their maths in 10th and 11th and 12th. And then later they thought, जो बच्चा who wants to grow and wants to study in a very well reputed institution, उसको ये मौका क्यों ना मिले? Why are they missed out for that opportunity to study into a very well ranked and reputed institute? That's where the idea of pathway came in, where any student, maybe not the best student, maybe an average student, maybe a decent student. So there are two kinds of student who go for a pathway. One is जिसके ranks maybe average हैं, they are not meeting the requirement for an academic entry directly to the university. They can go into a pathway. Second, आप अगर एक सिंपल, आई एम जस्ट आस्किंग द स्टूडेंट्स हु आर लाइव ऑन द चैट, कौन कौन से स्टूडेंट्स आज के टाइम पर ट्यूशन जाते हैं? हु ऑल गो टू द ट्यूशन इवन आफ्टर द स्कूल्स? And I believe almost 80-90% of the students, they prefer to go to tuition, especially 10th, 11th, 12th students. What is the reason? I see a lot of students who are studying in the school. I don't see them asking so many doubts to their professors or to their school teachers, but they have that connect with their tuition teachers where the class size is small. Now they can connect, they can ask, there is no fear of being judged. So the kind of environment that tuition provides them is a lot better. Obviously, school has its own importance. So we can compare that same structure to a pathway where they have all this opportunity to engage with their student advisors, with their professors, one-on-one. That's the first benefit. Second benefit, obviously, when they're going to a tech hub, they will be finding some kind of employment for next 3 years, or maybe trying to find a sponsorship if they wish to. So for that, they make that personal connect. And I would highly recommend to all the students watching this, go to the WLIC YouTube channel. There are so many videos that students have posted. We have posted on behalf of university for those students. Just go and check them. Look out for their experience, what their experience has been. So all the students from across the world, Nigeria, Kuwait, Peru, India, so all these countries, the students are coming in to study in WLIC. So these kind of benefits, just to summarize it, if you're not able to go into the university, pathway is the go out for you. If you're not able to go into, if you want those extra services, if you want that extra support, if you think that, I'll be really scared in a class of 100 or 200 people, I won't be able to ask questions. There are students who face problem with statistics. The student who face problem with statistics has a better chance in passing their grades in international year 1 at WLIC. And now from the student's perspective, the duration of the program is absolutely the same. So going into the university, the duration of the program is 4 years. If you go to international year 1 and then you go to the university, that too in the same campus in Waterloo. So you are able to use entire facilities of that campus. The only difference is your class size is small. You study with smaller cohort, you interact more, you have more engagement, events, and support.
I would like to add one thing, that when we talk about small, usually when you come to university in Canada, in year 1, you're often stuck with a class with like 150 to 200 students. Yeah. For international year 1, where we put students in a classroom size of 20. And the fact and the benefits of it is you build one-on-one relationship with your professor that help you later on. Because like, think about it, if you need to get a job, if you want to get into research project, you need your professor to help you write reference, or the professor needs to know you very well in order to recommend you for something, whether that's for research, whether that's for job. The fact that our students get to engage with their professor during year 1 in a smaller class size, it really adds that piece of, or maybe ask the professor for advice, right? What should I study in university? Your professor is going to be able to know you better in your year 1 and give you the advice that you needed to move on to your academic journey or your personal or your career journey. So that is one of the very key reasons, the benefits that even students, I see them with like 90%, 80%, very high IELTS, they still come for the IELTS 1 is because of that additional piece of support that we are able to provide to international students. And the tuition fee is exactly the same as direct entry to year 1.
Yeah.
Great. So coming to this point of tuition fee, my question is to start with Kenneth, and Utkarsh, I'd like you to jump in. Uh, let's discuss about investment, right?
Yeah.
What kind of monies the families should expect the students they'll be spending on this courses, and how do you think it's a good return on investment?
Yeah. Um, so the first part of the question is the tuition fee, living expenses, in Waterloo, and then the second part is this worth it? What is the ROI, return on investment for parents? So the first part of the answers is our tuition fee is 35,000 Canadian dollar. That's for the year one program. For program in year two, it will depend on what you study. For example, if you are in the arts program, you will be paying 36,000 because each year the tuition fee will go up about 5%. If you are into the business program, you're paying 42,000 Canadian dollar in year two onward. So year one is always a little bit cheaper at 35,000. So for example, in year two, studying computing science, you're paying close to 40,000 Canadian dollar per year. So that's the tuition fee part. For living expenses, if you want to live on campus, that's about 7,000 Canadian dollar per month. Sorry, per semester. That's 4 months. So that's 7,000 per semester for 4 months. So what you got, it's a single room, and then including your meal plan. You do have a kitchen where if you want to cook, you can do that. But if you want to live off campus, housing become quite more affordable. So we have students that spend about $600 in rent that live fairly close to our campus, which is again walkable to campus. And one thing about Waterloo is if you're a student here, bus pass for free. Or your tuition fee is already including it, so you don't have to pay for public transportation if you want to take the bus system or the train system within the Waterloo region. So if you want to live off campus, that's about 600. Of course, I see students pay for a single room with their own bathroom for about 900 to 1,000 Canadian dollar. Again, that's walkable to campus. And for food in Canada, which is about 300 to 400 per month, depending on what you want to or what your lifestyle is really. So with that, I'll say like living expenses. Why, if you want to live off campus, it's usually 12,000 Canadian dollar to 13,000 Canadian dollar. So depending on where do you want to live, how. What is your lifestyle is like here in Waterloo. But in general, I would say that compared to Toronto, our living expenses is like 35% lower than it is in the Toronto region, which is again 1.5 hour away by train from Waterloo to Toronto, which is a direct train. I take it most of the time when I visited Toronto or I travel back to Waterloo. So that's the investment part. The second part I wanted to mention is the return on investment part, where it really started when the students get their co-op job. So to give you an example, so our student in average, if they're studying business, they earn about 4,000 Canadian dollar per month. That's before they graduate. That's their first co-op term. Because our students do 12 months of a co-op, the first time is 4 months. So they work full time. They go to work for a company from 9 to 5. If the company make them go to work from 9 to 5, 8 to 4, if that's the case. So they earn salary of that co-op experience as well. A pay internship, some people call it, but it's a co-op program. So they get 4,000. So for computing science students, they also earn a salary averaging in around close to 4,000 Canadian dollars as well per month. So I've seen students earn up to 7,000 Canadian dollar per month in computing science. And in businesses, the BBA program, for example, students earn up to 8,000 Canadian dollar per month. So that return on investment started when they landed their co-op job. So imagine if they earn 4,000 in average in their first term. Second term they earn a bit more, right? So if they're earning that scale of the salary when they're still a student, how much would they earn after they graduate, right? So for BBA student, for computing science students, for science students, right, I was sharing they earn about 69,000, close to 70,000 Canadian dollar per year after they graduate. So similarly for our BBA student, for our business student, they earn about a little bit more than 70,000 Canadian dollar per year after they graduate. So again, we survey them within 12 months of their graduation and see how much do they earn, where do they work, how much they earn, are they further studying, or do they, are they employed? So we survey them, so we get that data, and it's on our website, so we make that public to everyone who wants to see what is that major and what are the employmentability of that major and how much student in that major make after they graduate within 12 months. And we also ask them again in 2 to 5 years and see where are they now, like what role are they doing in that company, in the society, and try to give student or prospective student a sense of where that major is going to take them 5 years after they graduate. So in terms of investment, it might seem expensive. I mean, I've seen students told me that, oh, there's the university that is 20,000 Canadian dollar per year in tuition fee. But what are the opportunity are the university able to offer to international students? And I think that's something make Wilfrid Laurier very unique, where we offer something that not every university in Canada would be able to offer. And when we're talking about ROI, I don't see other universities being that open to their prospective students about, hey, come to this major because that's what you would do in 2 to 5 years, and that's how much our students will make in average after they graduate. So we make that very transparent for the students to make the best decision and help parents to make the informed decisions about where to send their kids to study in Canada as well.
You're on mute, sir. You're on mute.
Kenneth, I must compliment you. You answered my next question on the list along with the previous answer. Right. So I was about to ask you about employments and all that, but you very well explained it, fully explained it in the previous question even. So that's great. So we have some questions also. I think Utkarsh, should we take them alongside?
Yeah, we can take. I will just like to add what Kenneth said. So I always try to reverse the question. So let's just think about the employment opportunities in general with Waterloo, where student. So
Actually, this is one of the questions. This is guy Ashnoor Singh. He wants, does Waterloo have similar opportunities as other major cities in Canada like Toronto or Vancouver?
I think pretty much better than that because it's the Silicon Valley of Canada right now.
Yeah,
so I think Kenneth will give a better idea because he's
give you an idea. So I live in Toronto for some times, and what I see is my friend in the tech sectors, when they look for a job, right, they don't just stay in Toronto. They go to Waterloo because that's where the job is. Think about the 2000 startup with funding from investor. So they are starting their business in Waterloo, right? So they need to hire people, hire talents. And when Waterloo itself is don't have enough talents, they look for elsewhere, right? So Toronto is a great place. And again, don't get me wrong, like we get talents from Toronto come and work in Waterloo, and also our student graduate, they don't just need to stay in Waterloo, right? They can go to Toronto, they can go to Vancouver, they can go to Montreal, they can go to anywhere and work in Canada and get that experience that they needed to what their PR, for example, if they want the work experience in Canada. So it goes either way. So either people come in or our students would go out to Toronto as well. So again, it's 1.5 hours of distance away. It isn't really that far from Toronto to Waterloo, or from Waterloo to Toronto.
Great. So you like to add anything, Utkarsh, here?
I think it's, so basically if I go as a student, I would always try to go to somewhere, any city which is right now in its growth phase and becoming like a very big, massive tech hub, because the world is talking about tech. And tech, again, like I said, is not just software engineering. It's a lot more around it. It's data centers, it's a lot of chemical engineering, it's a lot of WLSI, which is like very large scale integration where students can go manage the data centers, move all those integration chips into one microchip. So all these kind of professions you can explore somewhere where the tech hub is, and not somewhere which is outskirts, and where the business is going on, where the startups are coming, where the funding is coming. The chance of employment is much better. And like as Kenneth mentioned, that he has a lot of friends who's traveling from Toronto to coming towards Waterloo just for work. So that's where the city justifies its place.
There's another question from one boy, Mahdeep. He says, "You have AI programs?"
So
So,
AI
Utkarsh?
is
Yeah,
yeah,
Kenneth,
so
please.
yeah, so AI is not a program itself, but it's embedded into lots of the computing science courses. So in the computing science program, what we do is that we do general year one, so everyone stick to same courses. And then in year two, year three, year four, students get to pick what they want to study. So some students are more interested into AI, so they take AI classes. Some students are more into data intellectual classes, so they take those classes in year two, year three, and year four. So it's not like a concentration. It's a lot of courses offering AI, and that offer an opportunity for students to pick what they want to study basically. So I have some students came to me that wanted to study machine learning, AI, language modeling. We have students that wanted to study data analytics side of the computing science, the programming side of computing science. So the first two
Kenneth,
years,
sorry to interrupt you. So that's the beauty of the pathway program. In the first year, you study everything, and then you can decide. You can have a wise decision on the start of the second year. What do you want to do? What kind of opportunities you see in the market? You can have a wise and well informed decision whether you want to do AI, whether you want to do any other computer related courses. That will be a well informed decision, just not an emotional decision.
yes, and the best part of it is go back to earlier where your professor in a training mode, in the 20 class size, your professor is going to be able to help you because the professor know you because he teach you or she teach you in your year one. So she would able to tell you, oh, you should go for this because you're really good at that. Or you can tell your professor that, oh, your interest is this. What classes should you take in year two, year three, and year four? And your professor would be, of course, we have advisors as well, but your professor is the one who teach or design the curriculum, right? So they will be able to teach students in year one that, hey, what you should do if you want to become a software engineer or a cyber security specialist or whatever the students wants to become later on.
Great. So the next part is a little more interesting. Once the students they graduate, so what are they aspiring? They're aspiring for some career, for success in their career, success in their life. So how do you see success looks like after you graduated from Wilfrid Laurier?
Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. So in my view, our student, it's not, I mean, we supported our student not after they graduate, but before they graduate. So I'll make one example. So we have a students who come in for year one. So the student make it very clear, right? They want us to get some job experience before they, return home. So what we were able to help students to do is to apply for co-op. Because students need a general a 7.0 GPA, which is about 70% in a 100% scale. Our GPA scale is like 12.0. So students need a 7.0, 70% to get onto co-op. So in the first year, we have to make sure the student get the 7.0, the 70% to apply for co-op. And then we prepare students on how to get the co-op. So from that point onward, students would have 1, 2, and 3 terms of co-op experiences before they even graduate. So with
So
that,
the success journey starts before even they graduate, huh?
exactly.
That's
So
awesome.
we make
That's
sure
awesome.
success. And go back to the earlier, like the international year one program. So from international year one, going from year one to year two, our successful rate, or progression rate, I should say, it's above 98%. So we rarely have any students that fail their program that not competing year one and going on to year two. So that's very high successful rate for students going from year one to year two. Again, that's above 98%. We have this international year one program for 5 years with at the Wilfrid Laurier University. So the successful rate it's been great. So from the co-op, we have companies that are offering co-op job that are specifically for Wilfrid Laurier students. So in Canada, everyone's now kind of know that with AI impacting, you don't want to be the fresh graduate that without any work experience. So everyone is trying to compete, trying to get some sort of pay intern or co-op or part-time job before they graduate. So what it stand out for our career centers to be able to help students to do is like they work more like an HR firm where one staff is specifically for one industry, where they would then look for company for students, look for co-op opportunity for our students specifically. So oftentimes company would only work So companies oftentimes would have co-op opportunity that are only open for our Wilfrid Laurier students. So the competition is not to all other university in Canada. Some company, because they like our students so much, that they only offer position that is for our students. So so going back to the example, so student work 3 times of co-op. So what I see happening is because the students already have some work experience with the company will very much likely to offer them a return offer, meaning that before the students graduate, they would have like 1 offer or 2 offer at hand. Of course, it doesn't mean that the students have to stop looking for other works, right? They can still look for other works after they graduate or when they close to graduate. But the benefit of that is they already hold a couple offer at hand before they graduate. So it's good to have options. So our career center really helps students to prepare for their for their for their work after they graduate or even before they graduate in that case.
Very nice. So before I move to the next part of the question, दोस्तों मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा, आपको स्क्रीन पर ना QR कोड दिख रहा है. If you scan that QR code, you will be prompted to a WhatsApp group. इस ग्रुप में आप अपना प्रोफाइल, कोई और क्वेश्चन भी आपके दिमाग में आता है, आप शेयर कर सकते हो. So इसका फायदा क्या है, अभी हमारे पास we have the representative with us. हम आपकी डॉक्यूमेंट्स को असेस साथ के साथ करवा सकते हैं. एंड सितंबर इनटेक के लिए कुछ अभी भी अर्ली बर्ड स्कॉलरशिप्स अभी भी अवेलेबल हैं, जिसके ऊपर की हम वर्कआउट कर सकते हैं. सो उत्कर्ष, थोड़ा यार स्कॉलरशिप्स के बारे में आप बताइए. क्या क्या स्कॉलरशिप्स आर अवेलेबल? कुछ अर्ली बर्ड स्कॉलरशिप्स हैं, कुछ जनरल स्कॉलरशिप्स हैं, कुछ स्पेशल स्कॉलरशिप्स हैं.
सो स्पेशल स्कॉलरशिप जो बच्चे आज जो वेबिनार अटेंड कर रहे हैं, सिंस Kenneth is here, we have taken time, he's joined from Toronto and Waterloo. The thing is, the students who join, there's a general scholarship जो ऑफर कर सकते हैं हम, which is up to 5,000 Canadian dollars
for each year.
For each year, but the first year we are offering 5,000, and once they progress, provided the program they go to, so it's 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, and 5,000. In total, there is a chance for them to earn for 20,000. But for students who are joining right now, 5,000 is guaranteed. And once they progress, depending upon their program, usual trend is like 5,000 they get in year 2, then 5,000 in year 3, and then 5,000 in year 4.
Correct.
So that's the scholarship.
That's a great opportunity. That's a great opportunity, and thanks for that, Utkarsh. So दोस्तों, if आप चाहते हैं, you want to get yourself assessed, and that's a good opportunity to get a scholarship of 5,000 from such a good university, जो कि top ranking universities में गिनी जाती है कनाडा की. So that's the beautiful opportunity, big opportunity. अगर आप विल्फ्रिड लॉरियर में कुछ इंटरेस्ट रखते हैं, $5,000 अगर आज के करेंसी में देखें तो इंडियन करेंसी में 3.5 लाख रुपए बन जाते हैं, विच इज वेरी गुड अमाउंट. यू कैन टेक केयर ऑफ अबाउट 3 months of your living expenses in Canada with that $5,000 and give a head start to your education also. So Utkarsh, next question again comes to you. When we observe various students, especially North India के students की बात अगर मैं करके चलूं, कैसे स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो जनरली सक्सेसफुल हो जाते हैं इन ए यूनिवर्सिटी लाइक विल्फ्रिड लॉरियर?
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, स्टूडेंट जो अपने आप को प्रिपेयर करके आ रहा है, फर्स्ट प्रिपरेशन गोज इन टर्म्स ऑफ देयर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन इज रेडी. सेकंड थिंग इज दे हैव प्रिपेयर्ड देयर फाइनेंसेस आल्सो, very very important. Third thing is, have they prepared that in terms of academics also, because the university offers really big and good programs, especially tech related programs. So students primarily who go to tech related fields, because the university has partnerships with the companies जो specially co-ops offer कर रहे हैं सिर्फ Wilfrid Laurier students के लिए. The co-op is only offered to, so it's not like they're competing with everyone, like Kenneth already mentioned. कि आप ये नहीं compete कर रहे co-op opportunity के लिए कि हम दूसरे यूनिवर्सिटी के भी बच्चे उस co-op opportunity पर हैं, but वो is specialized to them only, and they can only participate in applying for that co-op. That is a very primary thing. Second thing, for Indian students, when I travel, I meet, so the Indian education system is very different from Canadian education system. There it's more of a critical thinking, analytical mindset. Everything is questioned. We are a little bit more towards rote learning, जहाँ हमारे में memorization, learning, giving exam has more importance. So वो जो shift है, बच्चा अगर mentally उस shift के लिए prepared रहता है, which year 1 में उसको prepare किया जाता है, And once they start thinking analytically, they work more towards their skills, and they want to adapt themselves in practical learning experiences. So basically, experiential learning एक term है which is now getting very popular. So the university, the students who are more interested in towards experiential learning and practical mindset लेकर के आते हैं, सिर्फ याद नहीं करते, सिर्फ learn नहीं करते, उनके लिए ये university almost best outcomes लेकर के आती है. And those students have a better chance to succeed. And again, आप 4 साल, it's a 4-year program, undergrad program. उसके बाद you get a 3-year postgraduate work visa, where you have an opportunity to work. आप जरूरी नहीं है वाटरलू में ही आपको काम करना, आप कहीं भी पूरे कनाडा में काम कर सकते हो अपनी फील्ड में. So that opportunity, first you work in your college days, your university days, आप co-op program से सीखते हो, because any employer will prefer someone who has a Canadian experience compared to someone who has an Indian experience. So the students who actively apply, actively prepare, and actively become eligible for those programs have a better chance of success. And it's a 7-year long journey.
Great. I'd like to add a few more things, guys, here. Last 2.5 years have been very challenging time for education industry, especially Canada, since there have been many visa rejections. There has been a shift in the Canadian policy, Canadian government policy. How does it look towards international students? There are a lot of changes. Things are becoming positive now. Things have changed. The relations between the two countries, Canada and India, are improving. They were under strain 2 years back, so they are improving. All these things, they combine the visa decisions, the relation between the countries, the cultural exchanges, and what's happening in the market. All these things, they affect the visa decisions. Last 2 years, we had seen some very good students who were denied visas, who could not get visas. But then, if we say analyze the whole thing, one thing is very clear: the Canadian immigration does not want to give visas for short-term programs, for even vocational programs, for college programs. But they are pretty much open for doing degree programs, and especially from reputed universities like Wilfrid Laurier, the visa chances, they zoom up, they go tremendously up. So, Utkarsh, do we have some statistics in the past year or the past few intakes? What has been the success rate of visas with Wilfrid Laurier?
I think yes, definitely. So I'll first mention, आपने बहुत अच्छा point बोला है, लेकिन rejections को थोड़ा सा ना student level पे भी समझने की जरूरत है. There are 3-4 factors which leads to a rejection or a success. Number 1 is आप किस institution में जाते हो, whether it is a public institution or a private institution, makes a big difference. अगर IRCC की वेबसाइट पर भी बच्चा जाकर के चेक करे तो वहां ये डेटा और स्टैटिस्टिक्स मेंशन्ड है. नंबर 2 इज इंटेंट. बच्चे का इंटेंट क्या है? When they are writing their SOP, when they are mentioning in their CVs, what is the intent they are mentioning? बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करता है. अगर आप हिस्टोरिकल रिकॉर्ड्स देखें
एंड एक चीज मैं उत्कर्ष क्लियर करूंगा यहाँ पर, एक छोटी, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट. The immigration people, they read the SOPs. It is not like they throw it in trash. They read it, they analyze it. Please.
Exactly. And second, they look at कि आप कितना seriously funding कर सकते हो. And Dan का session, मतलब all the students who have missed that session, मैं request करूंगा आप जाओ, परसों हमारा session हुआ था, just watch it. And Dan ने उसका clear explanation दिया है, because he comes from a government background. Canada की cost over the time धीरे-धीरे करके बढ़ी है. But as per law, the legal requirement before that time was 10,000, somewhere around 10,000 Canadian dollars, जो हमें दिखाने पड़ते हैं. Right now, it's around $22,000-23,000. So that change is made now. This was also a part of all the rejections that came in कि बच्चे funds कम दिखा रहे हैं, आगे funds की जरूरत ज्यादा पड़ती है, but महंगाई बढ़ चुकी है, but आज भी वो 10,000 का ही मार्क है, which changed right now, जिससे visa success में अब फर्क पड़ेगा. Most of the visa rejections you see, somewhere around 11-12% success था diploma programs का. अगर हम undergrad degrees की बात कर लेते हैं, the visa success goes high. अगर हम masters और PhD की बात करते हैं, it even goes higher. And I think Kenneth, now if you want to add on, what is the visa success particularly for us?
Yeah, so because the fact that in our international year-round program we are using the PAL from the university. So Wilfrid Laurier is offering, supporting or sponsoring the whole program. So what it means is that the letter of acceptance, it's from Wilfrid Laurier, the PAL letter. So our DLI, it's from Wilfrid Laurier. So from the visas officer's point of view, we are part of the university that is a 4-year program. If the SOPs is in place, if the financial documents is in place, our students get visa, no problem. So of course, if you ask me a couple of years ago, it might have been changed, but as we mentioned earlier, now, if it is a now situation, then we've seen situations have been improved tremendously, where our students are getting visa in lots of the South Asia countries, not just only Indians, right? But we're seeing across the board that visa improving quite a lot for us in the Wilfrid Laurier here in Rotterdam here. I wanted to make one more point. It's when we're looking at the market and everything, we see, it's more like a downhill now, or we more like a downturn now. But of course, in our view, we see things are improving. But it is more like so when we're investing in the stock market, we don't buy high, we buy when the market is low, right? So now is the best time to invest your kids' education, because 4 years from now, when your kids graduate, policy is going to be changing. It couldn't go lower than what's been in the past 2 years. So now is the best time to invest. When your kids graduate, it's going to be up again, and it will just take the trend like what we seen 5 years ago, right? So I want us to put it out there. When you're thinking about it, think about it, investment, then you don't buy when the market is high.
And I always emphasize the role of agent in this process. So it is your agent who guides you well, that whether you should go for a diploma program or whether you should go for an undergrad degree. That really matters a lot in terms of your visa success, because they know the trend since past 20, 30 years. I'm sure that you are also in the same industry with 30, 25, 30 years. You know the trend, how the students have got the visas for undergrad degrees and how it gets challenging for diplomas. Because right now they want the students to study from their own curriculum, get prepared, and then get into the market. So they're welcoming those students who are ready to follow the academics that the Canadian government and the Canadian education system wants them to adapt.
तो once again guys, QR कोड जो स्क्रीन पर है, अगर आप इसको स्कैन करके you send your documents to us or your query to us, your profile to us, you might be eligible for good scholarships today, and your profile will be assessed promptly. So like over the past 2 days now, we have explored Calgary and Waterloo. Tomorrow we'll move to another Canadian institution, another Canadian destination. एक डिफरेंट तरह का पाथवे, क्या क्या यूनिवर्सिटी क्या बता रही है वहां पर, तो आप लोग भी कंपेयर कर सकते हैं भी आपको कौन सी यूनिवर्सिटी में जाना है. सो दीज 6 days आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आपको 6 अलग अलग यूनिवर्सिटीज अलग अलग प्रोविंसेस में विल बी टेलिंग यू व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पाथवेज आर देयर, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ डिग्रीज ऑप्शंस आर देयर, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज आर देयर इन दैट स्टेट, दैट प्रोविंस, दैट सिटी, एंड व्हाट इज द रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट. तो कल का सस्पेंस कल खोलेंगे, कल पोस्ट देखिएगा, ज्वाइन करिएगा जरूर. कल कौन सी यूनिवर्सिटी हम लेकर आ रहे हैं. एंड आप सबका बहुत बहुत थैंक्स ज्वाइन करने के लिए. थैंक्स केनेथ, थैंक्स फॉर ज्वाइनिंग too early in the morning. Guys, it's only 7 a.m. in the morning for Kenneth, and he started his day early, especially for us. Thank you very much, Kenneth. And thanks, Utkarsh. Thank you for joining in today. And Utkarsh will be again with us tomorrow again.
Anytime. Thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for bringing all of us together. It's very important. I always say decision हमेशा student के हाथ में है. हमारा काम है उनको proper एक information देना, and they have to find the right fit for themselves, right programs and the right university.